What's up, y'all? I was trying to find a better way to do this, but I pretty much gotta have y'all sitting on my book while I look at these notes and talk to y'all about God's consciousness. If I don't do it today, then I'll probably do it tomorrow, and I was supposed to do it last week, so I'm not gonna keep pushing it off. I'm gonna try my best not to let this video be long because y'all don't really watch my long videos. So we're gonna keep it short. I mean, y'all watched the last God's consciousness that was long, so who knows what y'all do this time, but just on the sake of making sure y'all don't get too bored or lost in whatever I'm talking about, I'm gonna try to keep it short. So this time on the video of God's consciousness, I'm coming to talk to y'all about consciousness itself. The idea or identity of consciousness might have started elsewhere, but what I'm trying to do with God's consciousness specifically is a little more detailed and understanding. So the first thing you got to understand is, what is consciousness? Well, consciousness is the awareness or level of awareness of self, but not just of self, but also of your surroundings, your existence, and everything else that deals with you as self. So being conscious is really detailed. So it's broken down into like 9 different steps, and I won't go into all 9 steps at once, but I kind of break it down in half and go to the first 5. The first level of consciousness, or God's consciousness, will be becoming self-aware, questioning what do you need personally, what are your own needs, wants, what makes you. Being self-aware, you have to pay close attention to your details. How do you show up for yourself, the way you show up for somebody else, how you look out for yourself, how do you manage your stress. Those are the things you have to be aware of with self. And entering in a space of consciousness allows you to do that. Once you sit back and reflect and say, hey, I don't like that I did that, or you start to question, why am I doing that? You start to realize either A, you're not self-aware enough, or B, you're not self-aware at all, which is okay. I'm not here to tell you that you ain't nothing because you're not self-aware. No, it's just a reminder that self-awareness is important, especially when it comes to being conscious and making the best decisions for yourself. So number 1 in consciousness is being self-aware. Number 2, once you start to become self-aware, you start to see and analyze you. Number 2 is emotional intelligence. That's one of the main ones that you start to lose a good population on. They may be emotional or they may be intelligent, but they rarely mix the two. That's kind of where I lose a lot of conversation and understanding with people, because they lack emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence comes in where you start to question, how am I making others feel? So I'm aware of what I'm doing. I'm seeing how I'm acting. I see how it's impacting me. But now the question comes in, how is that making other people feel? How are my decisions and actions impacting others? Yeah, I want this car. Yeah, I want this laptop. Or yeah, I want to go on this vacation. But does that impact my coworkers? Does that impact my friends? Does that impact my relationships? Those are the questions that helps you become more emotionally intelligent. You start to question not just self, but self in correlation to someone else. That's partially why, that's why I wrote my book, y'all. Emotional intelligence is all within my book. It's all about not just loving self, but loving someone else. Nice little cameo right there for y'all. Yeah, go get that if you're trying to get emotionally intelligent. If not, we're going to move on to step 3. That's where you lose now over half the population. Because, 1, people don't like being self-aware because it forces them to hold themselves accountable. A lot of people don't like holding themselves accountable. That's where number 2 come in. When you hold yourself accountable and you understand that you are self-aware, you start to realize you impact people in a negative way. And that's okay too, because we're human. The problem is you have to change that. And a lot of people don't want to change it. That's just me. That's just who I am. Well, nigga, you ain't healthy. You not cool. Is you cool? You not cool. So you need to get away from me with that. And that's where a lot of fights and traumatic experiences come in, because people lack emotional intelligence. So now here comes level 3 of consciousness, which is situational understanding. Why does this keep happening to me? So when you go from, I'm aware of what I'm doing, I see how I'm impacting people, now I'm questioning how or why am I constantly in some of these same things? Why is things not changing? Why am I not finally getting my way? I'm working hard, but it just seems to still be stagnant in certain areas. Why does this keep happening to me? Once you get into that question, that's when you're really getting conscious, because now you paying everything so close attention. You wondering like, how much more time I gotta put in? How much more work do I have to, put in to become the best version of myself, to be as conscious as I need to? You start to question why things are occurring in this manner. Why did it have to happen like that? That's where the consciousness, I separated it back to God's consciousness, because we don't have those answers. Sometimes the why ain't just gonna be in your face or something you can say for yourself. The why sometimes has to come from God, and that's okay too. So when you get that why from God, why is this happening to me? Once you start questioning, you have to really be able to adhere to his word. Why is this happening to me? For example, let's say my problem with basketball was not making the MATC team. First time, I'm like, okay, cool. Second time, I'm like, why is this happening to me? Third time, it no longer became a why is this happening to me, but God, whatever you have for me, I want it in tenfold. You change your whole mindset and you shift your energy into something better. You don't have to keep questioning yourself or questioning your own abilities. God gave you the gifts, now you use them. But you always have to go back to him and reflect. Are you using them enough? Is this what you're supposed to do? So that's where situational understanding comes into play in the heaviest manners, because situations occurring, you might not fully understand it. And that's okay too. You can't beat yourself up about it. Can't be mad. This is life. And some of us, like me, for example, I'm 25. But you got people that's 12. You got people that's 32. You got people that's 69. And some of them still don't have that concept of situational understanding. So you got to go from not only being self-aware, not only having emotional intelligence, but you also have to have situational understanding. What's good, buddy? Without those 3 things, you already setting yourself backwards, because you have to become conscious if you want to become the best version of yourself. Now, I'm not telling you to become conscious just to kick it with your homies and make $1 million in your lifetime. I'm really not here to do that for you. I'm not sure how to help you get all that, but how to get better individually, how to, awaken your spirit and grow and manifest a better life. That's what I'm here for. So you start to become self-aware. Going back to level 1, you become self-aware. Look at yourself, become aware of yourself, understand yourself. That's number 1. Once you become self-aware, you can move on to level 2, become emotionally intelligent about your decisions and your actions. Once you get into those 2 spaces and you're comfortable and you start realizing, I'm impacting my people the wrong way, or I see myself, I'm impacting myself the wrong way. Once you get into those bags, you can move into level 3. Now I have to see what situations am I putting myself in? What things am I not giving myself credit for? What ways can I show up for myself that I'm not doing fully right now? That's where that comes into play. Once you get into those 3 different spaces all at once, you can then move into personal potential. What are you capable of? So now we go back to 1, but we dissect it again. So you are aware that you are great, right? Just use that as an adjective. You're aware that you're great. You are aware that you can do great things. That's good. Number 2 comes in where now I see my greatness, but sometimes I'm a little arrogant. Sometimes I'm a little mean. Sometimes I'm a little spiteful, a little prideful. Okay, how does that impact my peers? How does that impact my friends? How does that impact my relationships? Once you start doing that, now you opening yourself up to, I am great, but I still make mistakes. Okay, so now here we go into situational understanding. Okay, I'm great, I still make mistakes, but in this situation, was it a mistake or was it what I was supposed to do? Now that comes into your potential. What are you supposed to do? What are you trying to do? If you don't even understand where you're trying to go, then you blindly asking for God to lead you. So you'll always be confused on where you're going because you don't even know your own potential. You don't even know what you're capable of. You don't even know what you're working or striving for. That's where that comes into, you have to always go back to level 1 of self-reflection, self-awareness. Where am I? What do I want? What do I desire? Are these desires beneficial for not only for me, but my circle, my family, and my friends and foundation? Okay, and then if it is, how or why are certain things occurring in a way that's hindering me? Okay, am I living up to my fullest potential? Once you start to get into these questionable bags, it's not questioning your worth, questioning your skills, or you questioning, if you are capable. It's questioning, what are your capabilities? What do I want out of life? What am I actually living for? A lot of people just been living. You got to stop just living and actually find a reason to live for, have a purpose. That's where this all comes in, because if you're consciously aware of your decisions, you become self-aware and all of these other things, emotionally intelligent, you'll either A, realize, man, I'm living without purpose, I got to do better. Or B, you'll realize not that I'm living without purpose, but I'm not fueling myself. I'm not encouraging myself to be the best version of myself. So that's not purposeless, but that's not purposeful. You feel me? So that's where you get into number 4. So we're going to go back to number 1 so we can get to number 5 and I'm in the video. So in breaking it back down, we have level 1 of self-aware. Once you become aware of yourself, you can see yourself. Y'all couldn't see me. I just want to set y'all up for this last little portion. But once you become aware of yourself, you can see yourself and you can understand why you do these things, or why you're doing these things, or what's your need for these things. That's what self-awareness brings into your life. Once you start to move from self-awareness, you get into emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence becomes the space where you start to look at other people amongst yourself. So we all have our circles, we got our individual groups that empower us, or maybe you don't, maybe it's just internalized and you have God. That's also great. The things that you have to start to pay attention to is how you are impacting others emotionally outside of yourself, and how you are impacting yourself, because situations do occur. There will be times that you might wake up on the wrong side of the bed. You might not have all the money you need to purchase certain things. You might not have all the strength or courage or wisdom to move forward in certain manners. That's where situational understanding comes in hand with your emotional intelligence and your self-awareness. These things do conjoin each other, and now you have a situational understanding of where you are, how you feel, and how you impact people, as well as yourself. So that comes in a full circle moment to number 4, where you have that potential. You have to know your potential so you can thrive in the potential. It's hard to thrive when you really don't understand yourself. And that's why it gets confusing when you live in life, because you're not fully aware of yourself. You don't know what you're doing. You're not fully intelligent and emotional. You're not vulnerable enough with self or other people. You just living and expecting or demanding, and that's not what life is going to grant you. It's not going to get what you want. You're not going to have the things you need demanding life to bring things to you. No, you have to bring it back to yourself and internalize a lot of things. You have to see how you are impacting things. So once you learn your fullest potential and you start to live up to it, even if you fall short every day, and if you don't make it where you want to go next year, it's the act of going after it and putting in the work day to day to reach it. That's where you understand your potential, and you move into level 5, where you become conscious of what's occurring around you and what is your connection in your actions. That's what becomes most important, because that conscious level of existence then thrives outside of that. I have now became self-aware, I'm starting to become emotionally intelligent. I am seeing the situations as they are and having the understanding of how to move properly. I'm moving with the purest potential that I have. I'm being the best version of myself. You then are become conscious. You then have that spatial awareness, that universal surrounding you start to see outside of yourself. It isn't in a physical matter, but it's more metaphysical. You start to absorb different energies or feel different shifts. Consciousness with God is a lot deeper than just what am I doing wrong or how can I be better tomorrow. It's all in the detailed manners that I explained in the last 15 minutes. And my hope is, as we continue to thrive and as I continue to keep making these videos, you guys not only become more conscious, but you learn not only more about God, but about yourself and how to become one and the best version of yourself. It's a process. But if we don't have the right teachers, we don't have the right guidance or tools, we can never get where we really want to go. So here I am, yet again, encouraging you all to be not only the best version of yourself, but to become conscious by expressing God's consciousness. Peace.